Wednesday, Scott Bolden, when you stop talking, it's the show Open Tease. Be quiet. Today is Wednesday, July 17, 2019. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Today's the 5th anniversary of Eric Garner's death at the hands of NYPD cops. We'll talk to his mother, Gwen Carr, exclusively right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. The House held a vote on an impeachment of Donald Trump today, but it was voted down. Democrats did not go along with Congressman Al Green. No shock there. We'll tell you about that. Also, a Philadelphia district attorney has asked the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to declare the death penalty unconstitutional. New York follows California's role in banning hair discrimination in New York State. Also, the Emmy nominations are in, and there's a decline in diversity and inclusion. No shock there. And yes, another edition of Crazy Ass White People. You know you can't wait for that one. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go. Folks, the House voted down an impeachment resolution today introduced by Congressman Al Green of Houston. He wanted to begin impeachment proceedings against Donald Trump. He has certainly earned it, but Speaker Nancy Pelosi, she has been arguing for them to take this very slow. It's been a contentious several weeks since, of course, Bob Mueller released his report laying out potential obstruction of justice by Donald Trump. He left it up to Congress to make the determination. He said he could not do so because of this silly memo written during the Nixon administration saying that the president cannot actually be indicted, which is actually BS if you say that somehow he's above the law. Let's talk about this right now with Mike Brown, former DNC Finance Chair Committee, former Vice Chair, DNC Finance Committee, and also A. Scott Bolden, Aloysius Scott Bolden, former Chair, National Bar Association, PAC.
I was joking about that.
Is that what the A stands for?
My name is A. Scott Bolden. Just call me Scott, sir.
What does the A stand for?
Alan, A-L-A-N.
You lying. It says for Aloysius. Don't even front. That's what it stands for.
I'll be watching from above. Don't do that.
And from above, she's gonna lay hands on you as well, but disrespecting me. All right, let's get right to it. It's no shock, Michael, that this has failed. Pelosi, she always had the votes, but what she is dealing with is a very, very unsettled, angry constituency on the left who wants this man held accountable. He has ordered his folks to ignore subpoenas from this administration. They will not testify. Even folks who no longer even work for the White House, they're claiming blanket immunity on everything. At what point, though, does Nancy Pelosi have to do something? And the strategy is, well, hopefully the courts will agree with us on this. But, again, when you got a restless body of people, they're not going to make it easy.
You know, as you and I have talked about it, you know, I'm a loyal soldier of Speaker Pelosi. But on this one, I think she may be miscalculating. I think you need to get this impeachment thing done and move on and get back to legislating. We know what the Senate's going to do. So what if he's going to come out and say that he was exonerated? He will have the label of impeachment on his name going up through the election. So from my standpoint, get this impeachment thing over with, let the Senate exonerate, and then get back to worrying about prescription drugs, worrying about 2020, health care, and keep it moving. But right now, I think it's wasting. He's frankly winning. You know, I don't like saying his name, 45. The longer this takes, whether it's court battles, them not showing up for hearings, time is ticking, time is ticking. Then it'll be too late to start an impeachment battle.
Here's what I think she's doing, Scott. Aloysius. I think what she's doing, I think Democrats, first of all, let's just start from this premise. Democrats do not play to win. they play to compete. Republicans play to win. Even if that means if you're in a fist fight, they'll pick up a branch or a 2x4 or a crowbar, hit you in the head with it. They don't care. And then they won't even apologize. Later, they'll say, tough, you should have grabbed it before we did. I think Nancy Pelosi is spooked by the impeachment of Bill Clinton. I think what she is saying, she saw the popularity of Bill Clinton after he got impeached, how the Senate did not convict. And her deal is like, why do it if they won't convict? But here's the problem with that. Tomorrow, they're likely going to take a vote on the minimum wage, guaranteeing the federal minimum wage at $15 an hour. Mitch McConnell is not going to bring it up. So when you try to make the argument that, well, there's no sense in doing this if the Senate won't convict, but you're passing bills they won't even vote on. So you're actually doing counter to what your argument is on impeachment.
Can somebody give a standing ovation to Congressman Al Green? If somebody's listening out here, have his money people send me a card or something so I can make a contribution to him.
You ain't even made a contribution to this show, and you've been on it since we started. See that? You go right there. All right, right. Trust me. Al Green, don't wait.
Let me tell you
Alpha Al Green, don't wait on his contribution.
It's going to be a while. I'm with you, Al Green. Trust me, because you got heart.
Okay, I'm going to text him right now and tell him.
Urgency of this. You tell him. He understands the urgency of the moment, that this strategy of hanging back and counting votes, and if you can't get a conviction, then you don't move forward on the constitutional requirement that you move forward. I'll tell you something else it does. It makes the Democrats look confused, and they are confused, because when you put your finger up in the political winds and say, can I get a conviction or not, then you're not being loyal to the obvious. You're not being loyal to someone that is a racist, someone who has obstructed justice in the Mueller report, and someone who has defied subpoenas on the House and Senate side. And so as a result, what is Congress's role in all of this? What is Pelosi's leadership in all of this? Because you're right. They're doing the same thing on substantive legislation, and it's not getting passed. And I got to tell you,
not even getting passed. They're not. He's not even bringing it to the floor.
Exactly.
He won't even consider it. It's kind of like they're just passing stuff. He's kind of like, yeah, okay. Holler at me when y'all done.
At least we would be unified. At least the proceedings leading up to 2020, we would televise the power of the allegations, the high crimes and misdemeanors, and we would educate the public in a unified fashion. When I travel the country, and you tell me whether this is true for you too, when I talk to Democrats, whether it's socially or at a forum, what have you, the number one question they ask me is, what are we doing, Scott? What is our position? We talk about this unity and diversity, but we seem real confused on a real simple issue called Donald Trump. Where are we going? What are we going to do? What is expected of us as voters?
This was what
you get that too? Because I get it all the time.
This is what Al Green had to say today on the floor of the U.S. House before the vote was taken. Go to my iPad.
Follows. Impeaching Donald John Trump, President of the United States, of high misdemeanors. Resolved that Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is unfit to be president, unfit to represent the American values of decency and morality, respectability and civility, honesty and propriety, reputability and integrity, is unfit to defend the ideals that have made America great, unfit to defend liberty and justice for all, as extolled in the Pledge of Allegiance, is unfit to defend the American ideal of all persons being created equal, as exalted in the Declaration of Independence, is unfit to ensure domestic tranquility, promote the general welfare, and to ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, as lauded in the preamble of the United States Constitution, is unfit to protect government of the people, by the people, for the people, as elucidated in the Gettysburg Address, and is impeached for high misdemeanors that the following article of impeachment be exhibited to the Senate. Article of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States in the name of itself, of the people of the United States, against Donald John Trump, President of the United States, in maintenance and support of its impeachment against him for high misdemeanors committed as president, constituting harm to American society, to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Article 1, the House of Representatives on July 16, 2019, strongly condemned President Donald Trump's racist comments that have legitimized and increased fear and hatred of new Americans and people of color by saying that our fellow Americans who are immigrants and those who may look to the president like immigrants should go back to other countries, by referring to immigrants and asylum seekers as invaders, and by saying that members of Congress who are immigrants or those of our colleagues who are wrongly assumed to be immigrants do not belong in Congress or in the United States of America. In all of this, the aforementioned Donald John Trump.
Well, Monique Presley, principal Presley Law Firm. So Pelosi has her strategy. The vote was 332 to 95. And they had to act within 2 days of him filing the resolution, based upon the rules and procedures. Do you agree that what Pelosi is doing, taking this thing very slowly, is the appropriate task? Does